All right, so now you should be ready to see the solution to how to make tables and graph this equation. So first I'm going to build the table by hand. And they said to build a table by hand, you should put in negative numbers and positive numbers. And that you should have at least 5 numbers over here. I have 7, so that should be good. So here's my y values. Now if they tell you to show your substitution, that's this step, where we substitute the -3 in where there was an x up there. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my calculations over here on the calculator. So my first row is 27. And my second one is 22. Now, to speed things up, I'm going to stop showing my substitutions and just do the work over here. So 12 minus 5 times -1 is 17. If it's 0, it's 12. Now x is 1, so 5 times 1. And at 2, it's also 2. And that's -3. Now they also asked you to build the same table in your calculator. Now for some of you, building it on paper is going to be easier, and the calculator is going to be more difficult. For others of you, building it on the calculator is going to be easy, and doing it by paper and pencil is going to be more difficult. The important thing is that you can do it both ways, so practice both ways even though you might be more comfortable with one. So to do this in the calculator, the first thing we have to make sure of is that the y equal is correct. So we'll clear this one out. And we want 12 minus 5x. Okay. And the next thing we want to do is build this specific table. So I'm going to go to second window to get here to table setup. And the table setup we want to start at -3. And I can either hit enter or the down arrow. And delta table says that these are going to be going up by 1s. It says 5 now, so I'm going to enter 1. And now I have the table set up the way I want it. So now I'm going to go to second and graph, and that gets me to the table window. And these numbers should match, so this is a good way to double check your work. 27, 22, 17, 12, 7, 2, and -3. By the way, your graphing calculator, if you hit this down arrow, will continue to show you values that could be on this table. So if we wanted to make the table longer, there's more values. Remember, we said that the solutions to something like this are infinite. There's an infinite number of things we can pick for x and then solve for y. Okay, so we have a table built. Our next chore is to build a graph that matches that table. I'm going to do that on paper first. I found that building it on paper helps me think about how to build it in the calculator. Remember, the horizontal axis is your x-axis. The up and down, the vertical axis is the y-axis. We want x values to go from -3 to 3. You want to make sure there's a number there that tells me what the scale is. I've been a little bit lazy and just labeled the 3 on each side. The vertical axis has to get up to 27, so I'm not going to count by ones here. I might count by 5s to get up to 27. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And whatever you pick for your axis going up, you need to use the same numbers going down, even though there's only one negative value down here. I still want to count by 5s. So that's -5, -10. Okay, now I'll plot those points. At -3, it's 27. -2 is 22. -1 is 17. 0 is 12. 1 is 7. 2 is 2. And 3 is -3. And if I connect these dots carefully, carefully, should look like it's a straight line. This is where I recommend that you use a ruler, which I have a difficult time doing with my computer. All right, now let's go over to the calculator and build this table in the calculator. Now, when I do a window, I like to think about putting a window around my picture that's a little bit bigger than what my points are. So I like to think about it, if this was my child's picture, I wouldn't put their frame right up against their face, but I'd have a little space in between. So when I go over here to the calculator, you're going to notice that I pick an x min that's a little bit smaller than -3. Since those are by ones, I'm probably going to go to -4. And again, my x max, I'm going to be a little bit bigger than +3, so I could go to +4. The x scale is how far apart I made the tick marks. My tick marks are 1 apart here. Now the y is going to be very different. The y min, well, we had a y min of -3, but I'll probably go down to -10, just like my picture shows here. And y max went up to 27, so I might go up to 30 or even 35 for that. Let's go up to 35. The y scale, when we were counting on the y-axis, we counted by 5s. So let's go over and do that in the calculator. I still have y equal the equation that I want to use. For a window, I said I wanted x min to go from -4 up to +4, and that an x scale of 1 seemed like a good idea. Y min, you could use -5 because we only need to get down to -3, but I did write on paper that I was going to use -10. Y max, and again, you could use a number other than 35, but I said I was going to use 35. It needs to be a number larger than 27. Now, a y scale of 1 would make a very poor-looking graph because it would try and draw little tick marks all the way from -10, -9, -8, 1 by 1 all the way up to 35. It would make a lot more sense to jump by something like 5 for the y scale. Now, if we've done a good job, this graph that we've drawn here should look pretty close to this graph we've drawn over here. So we have 5, 10, and then it crosses the y-axis. 5, 10, and then it crosses the y-axis. So this does look like a good picture. This looks like 1, 2, and then it crosses the x-axis. 1, 2, and it crosses the x-axis. So that's a pretty good version of that picture. My window is a little more stretched horizontally, which is why they look a little different than they do on paper. But the general shape and how it crosses the axis looks the same. All right, keep practicing those. You'll have several on your homework to do.